Let's first start with introducing yourself to the camera.
My name's Chris Haven, artist, musician, skateboarding.
Dope. And so what I try to do here is just kind of talk to creative entrepreneurs, business mind folk that also are involved with creative stuff and just go over their journey, right? So you and I, we kind of met through mutual friends. You dope muralist in the city, you've done some graffiti around town, and I had you come and do some stuff at the shop. So I wanted to start with just like where you're from initially.
Initially from here, native Denver.
Word.
Yeah.
What was it like coming up as a young kid in Denver?
I mean, it was pretty chill, you know. Denver was pretty small town, you know. Wasn't a whole lot really going on. We've always had like a graffiti art scene. You know, it was much smaller back then. We've always had a skateboard scene. Of course, again, it was pretty small back then. Music scene, same thing. B-boying. It's all been here, but you know, it was just scaled down. You know, back then.
As a young person, what drew you towards, you know, graffiti, skate culture, hip hop?
So I think, you know, it kind of started with me getting into snowboarding a little bit. You know, I skied for a long time when I was really little, got into snowboarding. And then, you know, I also did like a little bit of skating when I was super small, nothing like, I didn't even know what I was doing. But I eventually was waiting at this bus stop and I saw a couple friends. Well, I didn't know them yet, but they turned out to be my friends, and they were skating across the street at this abandoned gas station, and it just looked so fun, you know. Like,
just spoke to you.
Yeah. I mean, it was just, they were out there having fun. It was a bunch of them, and I was just like, man, that's cool. And I recognized a couple of them from my school, so I started to kind of like talk to them and get in their crew and stuff.
So for you, skateboarding came first, or were you like a hip hop head first?
So, I mean, skateboarding led to graffiti.
Yeah.
Because after I started chilling with these guys, they were like, they'd have these fat markers on them. I'm like, what are you guys doing with this? You know, what's up? And they're like, you know, we tag, you know, we got to get a tag name and stuff. Prior to that, I was always into like, you know, like R&B music. You know, I'd watch like New Jack City and stuff.
Yeah.
So I was always into like the culture of things.
Sure.
But not as deep as like actually practicing it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so once you started, you know, getting a taste of what the skate culture and the hip hop culture was like, what was Denver like for a young skater? We were just talking, like, what was it like cruising down Colfax or dealing with downtown?
When we started, we only had maybe 2 skate parks. We had one like in Brighton, and that was so far for us to get to. And we had one in Golden, and then we had Denver City. So, you know, we were from like Arvada area, so it was every day it was just like, where are we going to catch a bus to? We're going to go to Golden, we're going to go down in the city. And I mean, that was kind of pretty much it, besides a couple little like street spots here and there around our house, you know, curbs and whatever.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And then I'm assuming during that time you're getting up on the walls and you start getting a taste for that and you know, burning up different things, train yards, I'm sure. What led you to transition into painting murals and getting into that whole space?
I mean, it definitely started with tagging and, you know, just wanting to take it to the next level. So you do tags, you know, and then you're doing like toss-ups with spray paint, and then you're trying to do like more intricate letters and stuff. Prior to all this, I was always into art. So I was doing like charcoal drawings, you know, and trying to do like just pencil drawings and stuff like that. I think eventually, it kind of switched to the point where like I could get certain jobs and they would be like, you know, like an auto body shop needs you to write their name in letters or something, you know, and back then there was really not an art culture, like a mural culture here, like it is now. So just taking those small jobs and eventually just kind of merging like that old art that I used to practice with like spray paint and aerosol art.
Did you during that transition, did you like link up with somebody that was like a mentor, or was it just trial and error the whole way? You just self-made and did it?
I mean, not really mentors. Of course, I always looked up to a lot of people here. You know, I mean, for the most part, back then, graffiti in Denver was kind of like, you had this crew here, you had this crew. We were younger, so we were never like, oh, we're going to be in this crew. And we would never chill with them. We would see them at the parties and like, you know, we were cool with them all. So we kind of just started our own crew.
Yeah.
And that was just like, you know, we would get, you know, ideas from other places or influences, you know, from like music videos or tags and stuff. And we kind of just like built on our own, you know, or from graffiti magazines and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And same thing, same question with skateboarding. Like, was it just trial and error the whole way, or did you get up with some dope people that are local that kind of showed you some things? Did you jump into a clique?
So I hung out with those kids from my school. They had a pretty decent sized clique of people, and there was also another clique in close to my house. So I would skate with them, and you know, from that point on, they were like, "Yo, this is the trick to do." You know, like we're learning this trick, like learn it too. You know, and like and tricks were coming out then, so it was kind of just a natural like building and learning process, and we all kind of just did it all together. You know, pushed each other.
I feel like I say this a lot, but I feel like it's stupid or silly, but like things like the Tony Hawk game coming out when it came out. I feel like it informed a lot of people, meaning you had this, you know, you have all those guys doing dope shit in the real world, and then you jump on the game and you're able to do even crazier stuff, and then people would go try to do that out in the world, and I think it like amplified or sped up the skill set for people.
Yeah.
It's like, what I could do whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we were a little prior to all the gaming stuff. And so like when those games came out, we were like, it's kind of weird because you can do all this stuff that's not even like really realistic. Yeah. And then now like people are doing exactly what the video games, you know, what you do in the video games. So
I'm sure you've been watching this last weekend, what they were doing on the snowboards.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Holy fuck. Like, it's wild.
I mean, when I started snowboarding, it was like, you know, spins were like everyone could spin. If you're starting to do flips, it's like, oh, you're kind of in this other category. Now it's like triple corkscrews and shit. You know what I mean?
Corkscrews and turning into a helicopter as far as you're spinning.
Yeah, it's crazy that they can take these sports to such a level, you know. And like when we started, it was like, man, we're kind of at the top. It almost seems like, and there is no roof.
There is
almost.
no top.
Yeah,
like it's just roofless almost. Hell yeah. One thing I've noticed about you over the years is you seem to be very resourceful in an inspirational way. So like whether it's you doing your own plushie merch, or you know the way that you're kicking out different things, like you seem to do it on your own, and a lot of people that are in your trajectory are kind of inspired and curious. So what led you to solve those problems? Like when you're trying to expand different things creatively?
I mean, I definitely get influences from places, but also I have like my own character. So I'm just trying to develop that and do it, you know, to all these levels. And, you know, unfortunately, sometimes you don't have the budget to go buy 2,000 plush, you know, toys from wherever and get them manufactured. You know, that's a lot of money to invest. So I just try to figure out ways like, you know, when I was really young, I would try to like sew my own clothing companies and stuff. So I knew how to sew. So I was just like, man, if I could get these printed, you know, and actually the first ones I just drew, but you know, I was like, if I just figure it out, you know, make a template, and then, you know, I could probably make these on my own. So I try to utilize that in like, you know, whatever aspect that I can to try and do as much as I can myself, you know. You know, of course, some things you have to outsource, you know, you just can't do it all, but.
Oh yeah. What do you see coming from what's the future look like for the Denver skate scene, the Denver graffiti scene?
I mean, the skate scene is pretty good here, you know. It's had such a growth. I mean, you know, there was at one point we probably knew all the skaters in Denver, you know, like, and we would see them at the parks or downtown. Now it's just like there's, you know, there's whole crews in Boulder and like multiple crews. So I think going back to the question, I mean, I think it's only going to grow, you know, as long as the industry itself grows and people continue to love the sport. As far as graffiti,
well, on the skate thing, like I feel like some cool things that happened, like 303 opening up their shop, like that created like a backbone and pillar for the community, right? Like they there was other shops in town, but the other shops were like, you know, it felt like they wanted you to get stuff from them, but they didn't want to build the culture around the kids, you know. And to me, that's what 303 does really well is it's a community.
Yeah.
Like people rock with them. And I think having that kind of backbone and footing is one of the things that's allowed the community to grow and vibe and become what it is now.
Yeah, I agree. Back then we only had like a couple corporate shops prior to 303 and a couple really small skateboard shops. And I mean, this one shop would sell skateboards, but it would also sell like hot tubs and hot tub products. So you're like, kind of, you know, there's no culture there.
We're in my coffee shop right now, right? And one of the things I've tried to do with this place is I've tried to get away from like the corporate thing. Like let's go into Starbucks metaphor, right? Starbucks is like a Motel 6. And then a lot of these coffee shops, like they'll turn your nose up, or they'll turn their nose up to you if you don't know what cortado is or whatever, right? If you're not indoctrinated into their culture. And what I've tried to do, and what I know 303 has done, is they created a space that was inviting. It brought the community in, and you could be someone that knows nothing, and you would still have a place there. They would talk with you and help you. It's like it's more inclusive instead of being exclusive.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where a lot of the other skate shops failed, is they were just like so exclusive to their little group or to what they thought skateboarding should be.
Yeah.
Where 303 is just like whatever. Like come, you know, everybody.
Yeah. I mean, the corporate shops would be like, you know, they just want you to buy product, and they're going to have rollerblades and snowboards and like frisbee golf,
like
frisbees. Yeah, you know, and they're not going to do anything, you know, beyond that. They're not going to make a skate video of their team if they have a team. Then the other smaller shops were like, this is our team. Like, they get all the love. Like, if you come in here, like, you know, it's almost like, who's this guy? Like,
exactly.
Almost like they didn't want to sell to you, you know, like we would fill out a place sometimes going to these other shops. You know, I remember Sam, the owner of 303, was one of those original people that I saw across the street.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
it goes all the way back.
Yeah. I've always skated with him, and that was our crew. I remember the day we didn't see him for like a couple months, and we seen him downtown, and he's coming out of this office building, and he had all these papers. He's like, I'm going to start a skateboard shop. And we're kind of like, man, you're like, that's going to be tough. Like, I don't know if you can do that. You know, it's a hard industry. Like, you're probably not going to make money in it. Like, you know, I mean, we still rocked with him, you know. But I think his passion and love for skating just transferred so much into the shop, you know, to where it was like inclusive. It didn't matter, you know, who you were, what clique you were from, you know, where you were from. It's just like, he just loves skating so much, you know. So it did create an environment, and I think that's why he's done so well, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that and some other things like that are why the skate community has blossomed in Denver as well, you know, which is dope.
I think also like he cared about the community, you know. He was throwing like jams and stuff. He was having a team. He was putting out skate videos. When the skaters were getting good, he was pushing them to like the shoe companies and the deck companies to become in-house and become like sponsors and get higher than just being like at a local, you know, skateboard hero
Yeah.
or a local rider. So, which a lot of even like the smaller shops that weren't corporate, they never really did that. You know, I mean, maybe they would put out a skate video and it's like, yo, you're in the skate video, like that's cool, but that was like the end. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There wasn't anything past that.
Because there was no community.
Yeah, I mean, and they
No one
didn't.
pushed the community.
I don't think the people there really were like, you know, we should market these kids to something else. We should push them further. Like they're talented. Like they can do more than just be a shop skater. You know what I mean? And Sam was always like, you know, that he was always trying to push people to get further.
Jumping topics a little bit. I was with you maybe a couple months ago, and I can't remember what we were talking about. We got on like the evolution. Oh, I was talking about how dope it would be if a lot of these companies would bring back some of the vintage sneakers and vintage stuff, which would be dope. I still stand on that. But you had mentioned that it'd be hard because the technology has evolved so much, and the skate culture has evolved to like elite athlete status. Touch up on that a little bit.
I mean, when the first shoes were coming out, you know, they were just so big and bulky. And I think they were based a lot on style, you know, and they also wanted cushioning, I feel like, you know, they wanted it to be like if the board hits your foot, it's cushioned.
Yeah.
You know, as time progressed, you know, it became skating became such like an athletic sport that they want something refined, lightweight, something that's going to like hold your foot good, you know, like a lower sole on it so you could feel your board more.
Yeah.
And I think these were all just progressions in actual products. They do have companies that are putting out their vintage stuff. A lot of these companies are coming back, but it's more like for those collectors, you know what I mean? I don't think, you know, I mean, given some people are skating them because they like that era, they like the shoe.
The nostalgia component.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and yeah, they just like that feel and that look. But I think ultimately, like, I mean, and it's to each his own. You know, maybe they do skate better in those bigger shoes and stuff. But I think it's more of just like a collector's type thing. You know, and could totally keep going. You know, a lot of companies have released their older stuff though.
What's your favorite sneakers right now? And I'm sure it changes from time to time.
For skating?
Yeah, for skating. Skating and in general, shit, whatever.
I mean, I like the Nike SBs.
The SBs?
Personally, yeah. They're pretty low. They're pretty clean cut. Not a lot of, you know, stuff going on with them. They're functional and they're good fashion. You know, they look good on your
They're
foot.
dope, yeah. Nike's
Yeah.
always killed it.
Yeah.
So you're a fairly aspirational guy that you've came from where you came from and you've been fearless in pursuing the different creative endeavors. Where does that come from? Like to catch up some of the viewers that may not know you, you know, you're a really ill, like I would say top percentile graffiti artist. You're a dope skateboarder. You have a cool apparel line, and I'm sure you have your influences, but you've kind of done it all on your own. You've had these ideas or goals or visions or whatever, and you've sought them out. You know, so what drives that? What drives that inspiration? What drives that hunger to like create and pursue and evolve?
I mean, I think it's just kind of how I've always been, and just try to like better yourself, you know, and not get stuck in something, and just, just wanting to do something new and wanting to push, like what I can do with my character. Like, I want to make a toy, I want to push him out more and do as much as I can with him. So I just think just trying to evolve and be creative,
Like when you were a younger skater, just learning this stuff, like what drove that?
Well, I think for skating, passion a lot. It was just, I was just so locked into it, I mean, we wouldn't go out and party, we would literally just wait for Sam to get off his pizza driving job, and then we'd come downtown and skate garages till like 1 a.m.
Hell yeah.
It would just totally controlled our lives in all aspects of it. And I think it was just because the pure like passion of it, the wanting to do it, the enjoyment of doing it. And I think that does relate into other things like the art and graffiti and street art and stuff. It's definitely like a passion that I have. So I think that's probably what's pushing a lot,
Oh yeah. What do you see for yourself in the next, 2 years, 5 years? Like what are you working towards?
As far as art, I want to do more large scale murals. I want to do more art where they're like, here's a wall, do what you want. It's not, like we need to do this and this color scheme, which I don't mind. But I want to be able to create because I think, that is what's going to take the art further, and to somewhere else. And just to keep evolving, when you have that freedom. So larger scale murals, I mean, 5-story buildings, huge murals like that. Any kind of mural festival where they're like.
Do you know? Have you met El Mac?
I haven't. Mm-mm.
Oh, word. I'll try to connect you later on.
Cool.
He's dope, and he's he similarly just wanted to grow and evolve to a place where he could just do whatever he wanted, and at this point, he's doing 10-story buildings. He's doing crazy stuff. He's really dope.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, what do you have going on presently that people should know about that's exciting?
Let's see, with a couple art shows coming up. I have a show at Alto Gallery, a group show. We have a group show at 303 Boards. I have a couple projects for the city. We're just kind of waiting on the weather and stuff for that to clear up. Yeah, a couple other things, but yeah.
Dope. Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming down and taking time with me in this new project I'm working on. This is like an expansion of my creative journey, right? Like I feel like I know so many dope people, and I've met so many dope people over the years. But when you know people, you don't often really know them. And having the opportunity to sit down and chat a little bit, I think opens up the information. We get to know each other more and understand some of the past. And yeah, it's really dope. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, all
Appreciate
day,
you.
man. Chris Haven right there. Boom.
Peace.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah.